The three main fragments of Socratic philosophy are Epicureanism, skepticism, and, most importantly for our discussion, Stoicism. Epicureanism, or hedonism, claimed that pleasure is the only good, sought prudently to avoid corresponding pains. Skepticism arose from the Socratic posture of knowing nothing, concluding that definitive knowledge is unobtainable amidst the heterogeneous mix of cultures and theories in the Roman Empire. But Stoicism is perhaps the greatest and most interesting achievement of the Hellenistic philosophers. It is an excellent philosophy, particularly well suited for military men, guardians, and practical politicians who seek the public good in virtuous action. Stoicism takes the position that the wise man lives in accordance with nature. Central to Stoic philosophy is the rejection of pleasure as the standard for human happiness. Instead, the wise man fears only one thing: abdicating his moral responsibility and being less than a complete human being. He is not afraid of pain, death, poverty, or any of the vicissitudes of the human condition. The fundamental pillar supporting this mindset is the dichotomy of control. The only matter of concern to a truly philosophical individual is that things completely under your control. What exactly is under your control? Your will, your intentions, your actions, and yourself, your soul. You cannot control the weather, the movements of planets, or whether a ship sinks. Crucially, you cannot control other people, their opinions, your reputation, or even your physical body, because these external factors are subject to chance or nature. Since tomorrow is not under your control, the Stoic advises, do what's right today and let tomorrow take care of itself. This leads directly to the core Stoic maxim: virtue is enough. Greatness consists in the perception that moral virtue, an organized soul rationally pursuing good ends, is sufficient for a happy life. If moral virtue requires us to die in the pursuit of a good end, like protecting the innocent, then nothing, not even life itself, should be spared. The Stoic wise man trains his soul to be unafraid of apparent evils, like pain or death, fearing only real evil, losing control of his soul and becoming a slave to lust, desire, or emotion. Among the Roman Stoics, two figures stand out: Epictetus, who was a slave, and Marcus Aurelius, who was an emperor. Philosophy is the great equalizer. Both could equally participate in this discipline, proving that social status is irrelevant to wisdom. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire from 161 AD to 180 AD. He was the most powerful man in the world, holding absolute power of life and death over everyone in the known Mediterranean basin. For nearly all Roman emperors, this position was synonymous with hedonism, indulging every sensual appetite, including money, sex, and wine. Marcus Aurelius is the standing exception to this rule. He had absolute power, meaning all restraints of law, custom, and political order were removed. He could have indulged every desire of the bronze desiring emotional, irrational parts of your souls. Yet, for 19 long years, absolute power did not corrupt him. He consistently chose a life of virtue. This moral heroism is staggering precisely because he operated with no external constraints. His behavior serves as a powerful testament to the strength of the human soul. He is perhaps the only historical ruler who even remotely approximates Plato's philosopher king. He feared only making chaos of his soul and doing what was wrong, because his soul was the only thing he was completely in control of and responsible for. Marcus Aurelius is famous for his book Meditations, yet it's not a book in the traditional sense. It was his personal journal or scrapbook of thoughts, written over 19 years. He never intended for it to be read or published. He wished for it to be burned after his death. This manuscript offers immense insight into his character. It is written to himself because he was the loneliest man in the world. Having no equals or friends, he constantly had to deal with self-centered people who wanted something from him. The book is characterized by a philosophical melancholy and pathos. In this diary, Marcus constantly attempts to remind himself of core philosophical arguments. He relies on short, caustic moral maxims and self-talk. For instance, he reminds himself of his own mortality. Soon you will have forgotten all things, and soon all things will have forgotten you. Therefore, what is the point of losing your temper or being mean to people now? He instructs himself on dealing with others. Human beings are social animals. Either teach them or put up with them. He believed that bad people act out of ignorance. A philosophical man must return benefits for harm. If you cannot morally improve others, at least put up with them, as the gods created us to be social animals. A defining feature of his philosophy is the absolute refusal to complain or make excuses. Marcus established a ruthless framework for self-analysis regarding difficulties. He said there are only two kinds of things. One, things you cannot control. Complaining about these is stupid and a waste of time. And two, things you can control, like your behavior and your intentions. Since you can control them, you should stop complaining and help yourself. Marcus Aurelius' teachings offer psychological tools for a smoother life. He emphasizes that everything is interpretation. External things do not harm you. How you interpret them determines their effect. A powerful mental crutch he used was viewing obstacles as opportunities. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When something bad happens, instead of complaining, you must ask what new opportunities it creates. Rather than praying for difficulties not to occur, you should pray for the strength of character to endure them when they do. He encourages mindfulness. Do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life. He warns against procrastination. Stop seeking approval from others. Stop putting things off. Decide today to start taking action, not to live as if you had endless years ahead of you. Marcus Aurelius devoted significant thought to death. He saw it simply as a duty, a part of the role nature has assigned us. Since death is outside of your control, you should not waste time fearing it. He admonished himself, all men die, but not all men die complaining. Regarding the gods and the afterlife, Marcus adopted an agnostic position. He posed a logical argument, similar to Pascal's. 1. If there are no gods, the world is just atoms in the void. In this case, there is no moral order, and what happens to you is irrelevant, so there's nothing to be afraid of. 2. If gods exist, they must be perfectly good, just, and moral. Such gods would not harm a person who lived according to reason and universal law. In either contingency, the conclusion is the same. Don't worry, be happy. Nothing can happen to a rational soul that is truly fearful as long as you maintain control of yourself. Marcus Aurelius championed cosmopolitanism. The Stoic wise man's polis, city-state, is the cosmos itself. Wherever he is at home, living in accordance with universal nature. This universality meant that the external facts of life, being a slave or an emperor, sick or healthy, Roman or Egyptian, did not matter. Marcus demonstrated this by showing that even in a palace, it was possible to live well. Marcus Aurelius' Stoicism is the pursuit of autonomy, making our own laws for ourselves and being free from being slaves to our passions. To be fully human is to be fully rational and fully good. His life and work serve as a standing reproach to our self-indulgence. We have no excuse for failing to meet our moral obligations if a man with absolute power, facing temptations magnified 1,000-fold, managed to consistently do good. He remains a symbol of practical, concrete virtue accessible to every rational human being. We might think we pity the lonely emperor, but ironically, if he saw us, he might pity us, pathetic creatures who fail to meet even his basic standards of virtue. His enduring legacy reminds us that integrity is priceless. As Epictetus advises, consider at what price you sell your integrity, but please, for God's sake, don't sell it cheap. The Stoic ideal, exemplified by Marcus Aurelius, is the mastery of the self, ensuring that no matter the external storm, the soul remains orderly, rational, and free. It is the wisdom to know that true strength lies not in worldly power, but in the unwavering control of one's own will. If you enjoyed this exploration of Stoicism and the remarkable life of Marcus Aurelius, consider supporting the channel. This is the Mini Philosopher. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more weekly philosophy insights.